Alrighty folks, hello there. Welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena comprehensive draft video. This is Alan. We're not going to do the Strixhaven draft challenge. Tried a couple of times and it was not only incredibly long but very difficult. So I think we're just going to fire off another Premier draft. Just keep it simple. Hopefully get out of the dumpster rankings for Mythic, but really it's not really that big of a deal because I don't really care about qualifiers or getting the top 50 or 500 at the end of the month. Because you can make the best deck possible, you can try to make the best plays, but at the end of the day, it really there's amount of variance and luck involved. So you can only try your best, but even if you try your best, you can do your best to get a above average win rate, but not necessarily win all your games. So it's time to stop blabbering and start drafting. And the pack one, pick one, Premier Draft Strixhaven. What do we have the fine pleasure of opening today? A pretty fun rare if you're in Witterbloom. However, if you aren't in Witterbloom with multiple Pest, this card is not that great since there's a lot of balance in this set, lots of ways to tap things down. So, I mean, this is first pickable if you want to have fun and start with this, but I wouldn't really recommend it. There's the Thunderous Orator as a pretty good 2-drop in the Silverquill decks, since it can just take any ability, the static ability that's on the battlefield, so this is nice. Yeah, this pack just isn't great. The best common is like an Elemental Summoning here. So it's between Daemogoth Titan, Thunderous Orator, and Elemental Summoning. I think the right choice is probably just Elemental Summoning, as just a pretty good lesson. There's also Cram Session, but I don't want to first pick it. In terms of highest power level and upside, it could just be the Daemogoth Titan, so I could just take this to see where we end up, but I'm a big fan of the blue decks in this set, so I think I'll lean towards the Elemental Summoning as a really nice lesson I can pick up, and then hopefully draft a bunch of Learn to go along with this, so we'll see. Alright, there's a Professor Symbology, which is excellent. Eliminates, great removal spell. And then at common, we see Combat Professor, Mage Duel, and Quadrix Pledge Mage. Professor does not necessarily go along well with our first pick, unless we end up maybe in some sort of Lorehold deck, but it's probably the strongest card in this pack, since the ability to just enter the battlefield and learn is quite excellent. If we want to end up in some sort of a Quandrix or Prismari deck, we can choose between Pledge Mage and Mage Duel here. But I think it's really between Eliminate and Professor Symbology. I don't mind taking Professor. I haven't played with this card too much, and it does seem like the most powerful card in this pack. Just remember that anything with Learn and Learn in this set is quite good, except first day of class, which is fine, but nothing exciting. This doesn't go well with our first pick, but we can still draft some sort of Lorehold deck, which I don't mind. And I think pack one, pick one, I would take the Professor Symbology here. So yeah, let's try this card and see how it goes. And then, some nice blue cards, Teamer colors, Divide by Zero, which is great. There's Combat Professor and Eureka Moment, so lots of good cards in this pack, plus another Elemental Summoning. If we want to stick with white, there's a Combat Professor. If we want to stick with Lorehold, there's Elemental Summoning and Combat Professor, but I'm kind of liking this Divide by Zero along with our first pick. I just like the ability to learn in this set. It's just so powerful. And sure, we might have missed out on a Quandrix Pledge Mage, but this is basically drafting the hard way where you're trying to stay open for the most part, and just taking the highest quality cards. So don't mind just taking Divide by Zero, plays along with the Elemental Summoning, and we might just abandon Professor Symbology as our first pick. I think white is the weakest color in this set, but I still think this was powerful enough for me to first pick, so yeah, let's take Divide by Zero, maybe just end up drafting blue again. Ooh, pretty late Rise of Exodus, okay. We could just try some sort of weird combination, don't know, but this is by far the best card in this pack. Are we like Azorius now, or what? I guess there's a chance we still end up in Lorehold, maybe splashing blue for Divide by Zero. But gotta take Rise of Exodus here. This card is probably the best card in the pack. One of the best commons along with Burying Books and Heated Debate. again, just being able to learn is incredibly powerful. So we'll take this and remain open until we can find a lane to be in. This pack doesn't seem great. Another weak pack. Probably just take an introduction to Annihilation as a fine lesson we can grab up. Overall, the card quality isn't amazing here. Not even sure if Vine Glimmer Snarl is better than a Quandrix Campus, since at least it's a mana sink in the late game. But yeah, this is what happens when you stay open. You just have to eventually just find the open color, and this is what's called drafting the hard way. So we'll take an introduction to Annihilation. Okay, pretty like Guiding Voice, Expand Anatomy. Karok Wrangler is okay as well. I'm a big fan of the Guiding Voice. I really like this card a lot. So maybe we could just end up in Lorehold or Silverquill. Expand Nami is also a very good lesson, but I think the Guiding Voice is more important if we're going to be a main white aggressive deck. There's also Karok Wrangler, which could lead us into either Quandrix or Witherbloom, but overall it's a really okay-ish card. I think we might want to just lean towards white here and take the Guiding Voice, seeing it's pretty late, and then hopefully wield the Expand Anatomy. We'll see, or pick one up later, so I don't mind drafting white aggro and a pretty late Humiliate. Okay, it does seem like we want to be in Silverquill. Study Break is also a fine way to learn, but definitely not better than Humiliate. So I guess I can put the Divide by Zero into the sideboard, and there's a chance I guess we could still end up in some sort of weird Mardu pile, so maybe I can still keep the Elemental Summoning as the main deck, or still put it as a lesson and try to remember it as best as I can. So yeah, I guess we can just be Silverquill or Lorehold or Splashing Black. Ooh, late Pilgrim of the Ages. This card is also very good. Nice grindy card in the late game, and can also ensure that you hit your land drops for turn 4, which is quite nice. So I'm liking it here. So it's a great sign that white is open in this seat, and yeah, we're gonna draft a nice white aggressive deck. So Pilgrim of the Ages get in here, and then between Spectre Fens, Alan Shieldmage and Divine Gambit. I like Divine Gambit better as a sideboard card in best out of 3. I think in best out of 1, I just want to, hit my curve. And between these two, which one do I prefer? I like Spectre Fens more in more of a controlling grindy deck, since the mana sink is quite expensive. So probably just take the creature with a better stat line. That's more threatening in the late game, and I think it's the Alan Shieldmage. And this way we can cut off Silverquill more by taking the hybrid color cards to send a signal. And then now I think I'll take a Spectre Fens over Introduction to Prophecy. Introduction is a fine lesson, but one of the more weaker lessons that I'm not too interested or excited with. It's fine, but it's better. It's fine in the Quandrix deck since you're looking to play lots of lands and grind and get value in the late game. But here, I think I'll just take Spectre Fens. And Study Break is nice. There's also another Alan Shieldmage. In terms of ways to learn, we already have 2 ways to learn already. So I don't need to prioritize the Study Break. I really like another Alan Shieldmage at the top end here. And then hopefully we find another Study Break later or some better lessons to learn. But we'll take the Shield Mage here. And we'll take an Essence Infusion. We can turn 1 a creature and then Essence Infusion, and that's quite nice. Take an Exhilarating Elocution. And then I guess we'll take a Silverquill Campus now. Given that we have double Alan Shieldmage, don't need to prioritize them as much. The Silverquill Campus can allow me some mana fixing, which I think is pretty important. So yeah, I think Silverquill is where we want to be. Seems quite open. And while we open up Magma Opus, I don't think we can splash that, but Demonic Tutor is pretty nice. Haven't had a chance to open or play this rare in real life, and I believe it's the most expensive card in the pack, so I'll take it. Pack 1 pick 1's obviously Magma Opus. This card is just an insane bomb, but yeah, we're just nowhere near the colors. This card is quite gross. Otherwise, I mean, we see other good cards: Lash of Malice, Pilgrim of the Ages, and Pillar Drop Rescuer. But Demonic Tutor is just great. I mean, it's just a great card in general. Being able to search your library for any card and put it in our hand is just really sweet. I think I'll take it here. So Demonic Tutor, probably the second best card out of that pack. And wow, Swords to Plowshare is excellent. It does give the opponent life, which can sometimes be a little bit detrimental, especially if you're an aggressive deck. But just 1 mana exile anything is already quite powerful. Otherwise, we'd be looking like an Arrogant Poet or Clever Lumimancer. But yeah, we'll take a Swords to Plowshare. Some pretty nice rare. Pack 1, pick 2, pack 1, Demonic Tutor, and then pick 2, pack 2, pick 2, Swords to Plowshare seems quite excellent. So yeah, and now we just need some creatures to fill out the curve. We're definitely lacking creatures, so could do away with something like Exhilarating Elocution or Essence Infusion if I want to. But overall, I think we read the signals in the first pack, and Silverquill is clearly where we want to be. Okay, no great Silverquill cards, unfortunately. We go Esper and Splash of Dream Strix. Also wouldn't mind one copy of Expel, even if we're going to be a more aggressive deck where we're not interested in where the opponent's most likely going to end up trying to keep up a blocker untapped. One copy of Expel is always fine. Otherwise, Crushing Disappointment's okay, but I don't mind a copy of Expel. Here, probably take Hunt for Specimens or Lash of Mouse, and wow, even Mage Hunter's Onslaught. All these cards are very good. In terms of removal, we have Rise of Exodus, Expel, Humiliate, and Swords to Plowshare already, so I don't really see a reason to take a Lash here. Might just take Hunt for Specimens. We could use some 2-drops that can help us learn, and this is quite powerful. Otherwise, you know, the Hunter's Onslaught is fine. Like in terms of removal, these are kind of like our 2-3 removal spells. I don't mind main decking. So we have decent amount of removal already. We just need some creatures to fill out the curve. So I don't mind just taking Hunt for Specimens here. Pretty nice 2-drop. Also helps us learn, which is nice. And hopefully pick up some more lessons later. Ooh, Inkling Summoning, that's a good one. Thank God. But there's also Hall of Oracles. Hall is pretty good. Probably one of the best rares you can open pack one, pick one, but we seem kind of creature light at the moment. So unless we have a ton of creatures to go along with this, I really think it's the Inkling Summoning now with all these learn cards. And otherwise, I might not have an opportunity to pick up another one later. Definitely very close. I think the Hall of Oracles, I would pack one, pick one, definitely over Inkling Summoning, but I think we'll take the Inkling Summoning here. Since we have ways to put counters on the creatures already, definitely going to take Combat Professor over Leech Fanatic as one of the more premium commons, white commons in this set. I think this is a second best white common behind Guiding Voice. Just mini Sarah's Angel, essentially, and hopefully pick up a Leech Fanatic later. Okay, this pack sucks. I guess I'll just hate draft a Burying Books and move on with my life. So there's a chance there's another Silverquill drafter at the table. Could just take my 20 gems here. Some late Quandrix cards as well. Don't think I need a second Essence Infusion, especially since I barely have any creatures. Someone keeps taking our 2-drops, so I guess there's probably another Silverquill or Witherbloom drafter at the table taking our 2-drops, which are pretty important for a Silverquill deck. I think I'll just take another Pilgrim of the Ages as a fine 3-drop. There's also Pill Drop Rescuer, but we have nothing really amazing to fetch back outside of a Professor of Symbology. And again, the Introduction Prophecy is very medium, but I think I'll take the Pilgrim of the Ages here. And then we'll take an Arrogant Poet to ensure that we have some creatures to curve out with. Wouldn't mind a Study Break, but the Arrogant Poet's fine. Crushing Disappointment, okay. Ooh, late Lash Mouse, gotta take it over. Pill Drop Rescuer, just premium removal. And seeing late is a sign that, again, Silverquill is open. So the cards I'm least interested in are like Essence Infusion and Exhilarating Elocution. And Crushing Disappointment. We definitely need some more creatures in this deck. Maybe, I guess I'll get my 20 gems here. Maybe Expel can also go, depending on the deck. But, yeah, right now we still need some help filling out the curve. And Killian is a pretty excellent 2-drop. I don't mind picking up. One of the mythic uncommons, I think, in this set. But not for sure if I would first pick it over like Tauren Sculptor, which is just really powerful and flexible, but definitely a very good 2-drop. There's also Environmental Sciences, Rise of Exodus, and Tauren Sculptor. Actually, you know, it's actually reasonable maybe taking Killian over Tauren Sculptor. Even though it lacks the flexibility, this 2-drop is just really powerful, and Silverquill, I think, is one of the best archetypes. Not sure if I would pack one, pick one here. It'd be crazy, but maybe Environmental Sciences would be a reasonable first pick. Not sure, but I think I'll definitely take a Killian here. One of the better 2-drops in the set, and incredibly powerful with removal. And Nothing here. Probably just take a Lorehold Pledge Mage. Now with double Silverquill Campus, I can see myself playing one copy as a reasonable 3-drop. So we'll take it here. And closing statements. Ooh, there's another Inkling Summoning though. Inkling Summoning versus closing statements. Might just be the second Inkling Summoning since we have plenty of ways to learn in the early game. But the problem is that outside of our first copy of Inkling Summoning, the introduction to Prophecy Annihilation is not really a great lesson to look up. We have also a decent amount of removal already with Swords, Expel, Lash of Malice, and Rise of Exodus. Like, closing statement is probably close, but I think I just want the Inkling Summoning here to ensure that I have more lessons to look up. And while between Mage Hunter's Onslaught, Hunt for Specimens, and Combat Professor, pretty interesting choice as well. Kind of liking the second Combat Professor, honestly. Another Hunt for Specimens can also go a long way in this sort of deck. But we could use another reasonable 4-drop in this deck. So not sure. You know what? Let's take another Combat Professor. Could use the extra evasive threat to help me close out. Ooh, and Mavinda's great, especially with the whatchamacallit, the Guiding Voice. I mean, it's not going to be super amazing in our deck because we don't have too many spells that target our own creatures, but a 3-mana 2/3 flying can be alright. And that means that we can maybe main deck an Essence Infusion now, which is going to make it stronger. So I think I'll take it here over the Spirit Summoning. But yeah, I don't mind Mavinda here. And there's a second Rise of Exodus. There's also Environmental Sciences, but we're not really splashing. I could use another top-end removal spell, and Rise of Exodus is great. Otherwise, second Lash is fine, but yeah, let's take second Rise of Exodus. And then, ooh, even late Hunt for Specimens. Okay, we're really getting rewarded. All the learns and lessons. Yeah, we'll take it here for sure. And then Mage Hunter is also just a reasonable 4-drop. I can maybe main deck or not. Doesn't seem like it's necessary, but I'll put it in sideboard maybe. And another Arrogant Poet gives us another good 2-drop we can curve out with. Wow, late closing statement, Jesus. Alright, everything's wheeling. So maybe I can ditch the Expel. Maybe I do ditch the Essence Infusion, although Mavinda is quite nice. But Mavinda as just a 3-mana 2/3 flyer could just be reasonable enough. And I might just have to run 17 lands in order to accompany double Rise of Exodus here. So these are the cards I'm mostly interested in. Don't think I need a second Campus, but I'll take a second Hunt for Specimens. Not sure if I'll play it though, since I have a lot of creatures already. Might just prefer cutting maybe a Lorehold Pledge Mage. Guess I'll take my third Campus anyway, since the game just wants to give me a bunch of Campuses. Okay, deck doesn't seem too bad. Mavinda doesn't seem great, but just as a 2-mana 2/3 flyer, she seems alright. So this is 17 cards, double Rise, 1 Rise of Exodus. The more weaker cards would be like Spectre Fens, maybe Lorehold Pledge Mage, since we don't have a ton of pump spells. Could maybe cut 1 Pilgrim of the Ages. Like, sure, it helps me hit my land drops, but it's not like too amazing of a card I want in the deck. Liking to Humiliate, double Hunt for Specimens. Liking to Demonic Tutor too, but I could see an argument for even cutting that as well. Liking all my 1-drops. So if we want to main deck something, what can we consider from the sideboard? Accelerating Elocution, I think it's a little bit too expensive to cast. I'd rather just have the Hunt for Specimens anyways. And I think we'll play 2 tap lands as opposed to 3, since we're quite aggressive, and playing too many tap lands can be punishing. Could also take a Mage Hunter over the Spectre Fens. Not sure if I want to do that though. Can be a nice way to punish Magecraft, but just having a 2/3 flyer I think could be more useful. Not sure. I don't know if I need third Hunt for Specimens. We only have 3 lessons, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to learn. And just 3 copies doesn't seem great. So what do I take here? You may cast target instant sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target creature control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only once per turn. Maybe I could make a case for throwing in an Essence Infusion since I'm playing Mavinda in this deck. And that's totally fine. And could just play Lorehold Pledge Mage, even though it's a little bit hard to cast. It could just be stronger than the Pilgrim of the Ages by giving me a 2/2 First Striker, which is really decent. The Mind Tutor can also search up Mavinda and some other great cards. And then looking at the creature base, we have 12, but it's more like 14, 15 with the Inkling Summoning. So we have a lot of ways to learn, but not a lot of lessons. So that could be a little bit of a problem. But I mean, we can always just use our lessons to maybe loot or just do nothing at all with them. Could also tick Pilgrim over Lorehold Pledge Mage. Like, I know this hits harder. And how many Magecraft cards do we have? 1, 2, 3. It's pretty good counters on it, not gonna lie. The Pilgrim of the Ages can give us a bit of value, but we do have 1 copy already, which is okay-ish. And it could be reasonable to run 16 lands, but if I run 16 lands, maybe I just run a third Pilgrim of the Ages to help me hit my land drops. Or maybe just 1 is fine. And then hopefully the deck can get there. I mean, this really isn't great unless I have a lot of pump spells to put counters onto, so maybe I just toss out the Lorehold Pledge Mage and just play 3 copies of Pilgrim of the Ages to help me hit my land drops whenever I need to. And then just curve out with the deck. And then, yeah, Mavinda looks pretty good. And then we can keep the mana base even split. I think slightly favoring black, since we have more black 2-drops, so we can cut up plains, throw in a swamp. So this is 17 with the double Silverquill Campus. And then in terms of removal, again, Lash, Swords, Lash, double Rise of Exodus, Closing Statement, and then the value cards. These are kind of like the ways to gain value, and I guess Humiliate is kind of like a removal spell, so this is kind of like our curve. Seems okay, and if we do get to the late game, at least we can maybe get back to Pilgrim of the Ages caster to thin out the deck even more. So overall, just a very solid deck. And, yeah, let's give this deck a shot, see how it goes. And, yeah, let's give this a shot. And it's nice to also have the Pilgrim of the Ages to get a plains, so you can loot it away. Discard and draw as well. Mavinda on 3, we're on the play. Doesn't seem great. I mean, Mavinda with the Essence Infusion could be fine. I mean, I could try to hope for a 3rd land drop, and since I'm on the play, maybe I still do keep. Doesn't seem like a great hand, but maybe it's worth the risk. Hopefully don't draw into too many tap lands on turn 3. But on the play, I think I had to keep something like this, and yeah, at least we drew a tap land now, so we can play our 3-drop at least, and maybe we can loop a Essence Infusion twice, we'll see. Could also just play Pilgrim of the Ages to ensure I get my land drop, and this can trade for the 2/2. Yeah, I don't mind that. And maybe drop Mavinda later at a safer moment in time. Because if I play out Mavinda, she can just steal it, which could be a problem. And I just like the value of the Pilgrim of the Ages here. Able to hit my land drops, and then we can follow up with a Combat Professor. And I think I'm trading here still. It's a pretty good trade. And we also got a land out of it, which is great. Shade Wing Laureate, that's fine. Alright, guess we'll play our planes, and then I guess we're fine dumping out the Combat Professor. Next turn we can 2-drop and 3-drop. Guiding Voice, okay. Eventually, hopefully we can Rise of Exodus this, so we might have to take some hits here this turn. Inkling Summoning. Silverquill Pledge Mage, okay. So we'll take 3. Spectre offends. Could play Mavinda and Essence Infusion on the combat and attack to gain some life. I actually don't hate that. He could use a removal spell, but then the following turns we can use Mavinda and put an Essence Infusion onto her. So I think I like that play. Let's just do that. Combat Professor. And also gains Vigilance, which is nice. And can block the flyers. So it's going to become a pretty key threat along with Mavinda, which can easily get back the Essence Infusion and cast it. That's a pretty powerful card. Unfortunately, Rise of Exodus can't deal with this all too well. He might just go all in with an Expanded Anatomy, and then we can punish him. Sure. So I probably don't want to trade into this because trading here doesn't seem great. And we have a removal spell to follow up, so I think this is fine. And then next turn we can get value off of Mavinda and put counters onto her as well. Don't want to go all in, too all in. So I could Rise of Exodus now, but I think I don't mind activating Mavinda here. And grabbing the Essence Infusion. Cast the Essence Infusion on Mavinda. And then we can move to combat. Give Mavinda the extra power and toughness, so then we can gain the extra life, which seems great. And also just play out Spectre Offends, and then we'll get greedy of our Rise of Exodus. I want him to load even more counters onto his Silverquill Pledge Mage or Shadewing Laureate, and then we can get a pretty good exile and then an attack in, which seems quite good. I mean, there's also an argument to trade with the Silverquill Pledge Mage. Or just take 10, and then we can exile and go from there. He's going to gain a ton of life. So maybe there is an argument for just double blocking the Shadewing Laureates to prevent too much damage. Yeah, maybe it's fine trading double blocking, since this is going to become a problem later. And I might want to just exile the Silverquill Pledge Mage. Could also double block the Silverquill Pledge Mage, but this seems a lot better. So I think we'll just double block here. And he's all tapped out, so that's good. And I can still exile Silverquill. And the insane thing about Killian is I can make this cost 2 less. So what we want to do is we want to play Killian first. And then we want to cast a 4-mana Rise to Exodus, which is really insane. And then we want to exile, I guess, his Guiding Voice. And then we want to grab an Inkling Summoning or Introduction to Annihilation. We can exile the Quill, so I don't hate that. Exiling the Poet's Quill can be pretty powerful. And then we'll just attack with both. Should I maybe consider giving the Combat Professor Vigilance, since he can have an Expel to exile. Could also just exile the creature and attack. But I think the Poet's Quill is going to become a bigger problem in the long run. Yeah, the Poet's Quill is just going to become a bigger problem in the long run. And I'm actually happy that he is going all in with this. I could just actually exile the 4/3 now that I think about it. Maybe it's worth it. since it's already a big threat in and of itself. He still keeps the Poet's Quill, but this is fine. And we can still gain a bit of life, I think, with the Killian attack here. And then develop the board. Hopefully he doesn't just play a creature and go all in with the Poet's Quill. Or play a Devastating Mastery, which can be kind of backbreaking, but that's not a card you typically main deck in a Silverquill deck. So we're guaranteed to get in for 2. I guess we're guaranteed to get in for 4, because the Spectre can drain and Killian can gain evasion. Or I guess 5, since we can pump the Killian in attack with these. If he doesn't have a flyer, we can hit for 3 and drain him still. But yeah, it's going to be hard for the opponent to come back from all this. And the opponent is probably just roping here, but yeah, no, fun. This is a pretty fun match. Mavinda definitely doing a lot of work, being able to get back the Essence Infusion. But without too many pump tricks, she's not all that fantastic. But again, just as a 3-mana 2/3 flyer, I think that's already very good. So we'll just move to combat. Then just attack with all. Putting could have double expel, which could be kind of interesting. But he's just roping me here because he lost, so happens. Alright, opening hand, Killian seems great with Lash on turn 1. Seems good. Killian on 2 is just so gross. I could hunt. Like, hunt for specimens could be reasonable since I can develop 2-drop and a 3-drop, which could be nice. But getting out an early Killian is just so devastating. Essentially just getting in for 4 damage for free since it has Menace. And you won't see any removal spell until turn 3 in red. I can also Lash this and also just cast a hunt for specimens, so that's also nice. Yeah, this is just so insane. The Silverquill decks can just get out of hand. I can also cast a 3-mana Intro to Annihilation, but I don't want to draw them cards yet, so this seems fine. Strategic planning, okay, main phasing it does not seem that great. Could always Essence Infusion. For 1 mana, Essence Infusion is pretty insane. And then we can always cast our Inkling Summoning. Guess I might want to infuse the token in case he has a bounce spell for next turn. Seems fine. And then we can attack for 5, play the Inkling Summoning token. We also have a 4 mana Rise to Exodus. Wow, that's so gross. We can just chain removal spells, Rise to Exodus into Intro to Annihilation, and try to steal the game. So it's probably a Burying Books here, I have to imagine, but I don't think we play around it, so let's move to attacks. And probably get our token buried. Arcade, okay. So I think he's just dead here. Should maybe play this first before playing my land, since he knows about it now, but it's still fine. And then we can exile the creature, and then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. So it's basically lethal with Rise of Exodus. So I think he's just dead here. Yeah, I don't think this is what I would consider a good game, but you know, it is what it is. We can even get back an Intro to Annihilation. Yeah, good game. Wow, it's so insane just curving out with Killian. So yeah, definitely one of the premier uncommons of this set, along with Rutha, and maybe like Aeneas Inspiration. But yeah, Killian doesn't mess around. Hey, 2-drop into 3. Alright, 2-drop into 3-drop seems good. Alright. Professor seems great unless he has a reject, which people have been main decking. And then we can always get our Inkling summoning here on curve, which is really nice. And then turn 4 we can double 2-drop. Field Trip, okay. I think this is the best green common in the set. Anything that learns is just so insane in this set. It's just so good. Okay, hopefully we have a removal spell lined up to deal with this. So let's attack for 2. Dream Strix, pretty annoying. I guess I actually don't mind trading for this. What's this? If he decides to put counters on it or anything into this, it's just gonna trade. Yeah, I don't mind trading for this, honestly. The 3/2 can be pretty annoying. Like, he does get to learn, but hopefully he doesn't have a second arcane subtraction, but you know, I do need to get in damage. I am an aggressive deck, so hopefully he trades. If he main decks 2 arcane subtractions, at least put the anatomy onto the Dream Strix. Okay. Leyline, I think we want to maybe closing statement. I can also just play the Pilgrim of the Ages here, and just chump it. So I'm fine just attacking for maybe 4 in the air, and wait. If I closing statement, I can get in for more damage now, which could be reasonable. I mean, there's a chance he has a reach creature, but maybe I do just closing statement here. Yeah, this is fine. And if he wants to use intro on an Arrogant Poet, that's fine with me. Make sure I don't pay. This forces him to have a reach creature of some sort. Vortex Runner, that's not a reach creature. Hopefully no Master Cemetress. So probably a Burying Books. So I guess we're fine attacking with the Arrogant Poets here. And then yeah, we do want to pay to fly over. And probably see a Burying Books on the 3-2. It's not too surprising here. Or maybe big play. Sure. And then I can play Pilgrim of the Ages. And I probably just want to play the Campus out. Like, I know he knows, I know I have a Plains, but at least if I can play the Campus out and I flood next turn, I can at least scry, so might as well just play it here. And Poe might just attack me for 5 here. I could always jump. No, I guess I can't block it since it's unblockable, so I guess I'll just take 5, which is a ton of damage. Needlethorn Drake, that's pretty annoying. Alright, so could use a good removal spell here. Otherwise the damage is going to add up. I think I'll just say go and pass. And if he decides to use the Introduction to Annihilation, I can just scry. So I'm fine maybe just taking 5 here, scry, and then find an answer to maybe either Needlethorn Drake or Vortex Runner and attack. And if he wants to use Intro on Arrogant, I might want to scry before that happens. Take 5. I guess this will result in a trade, sure. If he wants to use an intro, I still draw a card. Could always scry and do some removal as well. I could also let the draw happen first and then get the extra scry value. Maybe that's fine. Let the draw happen and then get the extra scry value. Alan Shield Mage could be alright. So if I attack for 2, I put him down to 4, he needs to stay back. So I think it's fine keeping this on top. Attacking for 2, and then hopefully he doesn't top deck anything. He's most likely going to hopefully he doesn't top deck a creature, because if he doesn't, then he needs to stay back. And I can scry on my upkeep as well. Okay, so he doesn't have anything, so he's forced to stay back. So I guess I'm not obliged to scry my upkeep, I can just take my draw step here, and Swords could be pretty nice at instant speed. So if I Swords the Plowshare here, he goes up to 9, but then I put him on a 2-turn clock, so I don't mind doing so. And that way I can still scry end of turn, and get in for 5, and then this is still 2-turn clock, which is nice. Play land, then scry end of turn, get that extra scry value, so not bad. Imbraham as a blocker for the air. Okay, hopefully I can scry to some removal, we'll see. Ooh, Rise, yep, that's perfect. So it's not wrong main decking 2 Rise of Ecstasies in these decks. Let's go. And then get ready in ley line. And yeah, he's just dead here. Sweet. 3-0. With a pretty decent Silverquill deck. Not by any means busted like the more insane ones with like double, triple Killian, and Dramatic Finale, and Poet's Quill or Sparring Regiment, but still pretty solid deck, and we still have a pretty good win rate. So yeah, Silverquill is definitely one of the more premier archetypes in the set, along with Quandrix Ramp, or Quandrix or Teamer Ramp, I have to say. Alright, can Demai Tutor, doesn't seem bad, seems okay. Curve out of Arrogant Poets, maybe Guiding Voice on it, we'll see. Prismari Pledge Mage, that's a good one. You could always end of turn the Arrogant Poet and kill this with a closing statement. A second Prismari Pledge Mage, okay. So I could Guiding Voice and trade, or I can end of turn Closing Statements, which seems fine. I mean, Guiding Voice isn't the worst. I get to get in for 3, and maybe I can hunt for specimens and chump, and then use Closing Statement next turn. Let's say is a removal spell. Well, that's going to get pretty annoying. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually Guiding Voice on this and start getting some attacks in. Could also Demonic Tutor, but playing Hunt for Specimens is nice here, and then I can start emptying and grabbing my Inkling Summonings, and I'm fine chumping 1/3/3 if he decides to attack. Maybe attack for 3 next turn and then cast a Closing Statement to take out one of them. Frost Trickster, okay. So that's going to be a little bit annoying. Essence Infusion could maybe prompt a trade, and I can then cast maybe a Demonic Tutor, which seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, I think I'm fine with this. And plus I gain 3 life and I get one of these out of the way. The question is, what do I want Demonic Tutor for? Maybe an extra flyer. Rise, Humiliate could be pretty nice, since it can put a counter on my creature. Although I do need to hit my land drops. Could maybe take a Combat Professor, which would be nice. Killian. I guess Mavinda could be pretty awesome if I can top deck a land, cast Mavinda, and then put a counter onto my creature. It could be pretty nice. Combat Professor can maybe act as a nice flyer that we could use. Lots of pretty interesting options here. I think it's either Mavinda or Combat Professor. Not sure, or Humiliates. Humiliate could be pretty awesome. But you know what? Let's actually just play it safe maybe and take Combat Professor. But I guess Mavinda has more upside. You know what? Let's take Mavinda. Mavinda has more upside if I get a land. I can play Mavinda and then put cast another Essence Infusion for value. But the opponent has multiple flyers now, which is kind of annoying. Ooh, Humiliate top deck, that's pretty good. Yeah, I could also just Humiliate and attack. Some good cards. Heated Debate, Tempted by Auric. He's never going to cast Tempted, so I think Heated Debate can go. And I think I'm going to attack and then find losing 2 life here. And just get in for 4, which is a lot of damage. If the opponent casts an Ingenious Mastery, he can eventually cast Tempted by the Auric, which can be kind of scary. So I gotta be careful about that. Archmage Emeritus, okay. Guess I can maybe cast a Spectre Offense as a fine blocker, attack for 4. Could also Closing Statement end of turn on Archmage Emeritus, but I like getting out the 4-drop. And then hopefully he doesn't have a 3rd blue with Tempted by the Auric, which can become a problem. I mean, I think he gives me the Scry as well, right? No, he does it for X equals 2. Alright, so I need to deal with this. He's going to use Tempted on the Auric on my Arrogant Poet, so I don't necessarily want to enhance it. I might just attack without giving it flying and trade it off, and then we can still cast an Allen Shield Mage. Could also Closing Statement on Archmage and attack with both, but he can just double block the Spectre. Yeah, let's just attack the Arrogant Poet and not pay the life. And getting in for 4 is a lot here, so I'm fine with the double blocks. Therefore, Tempted by the Auric can't take my Allen Shield Mage, and I can just start flying over. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Okay. I mean, if he wants to do 4, that's fine. It's kind of scary for the opponent, I think. Yeah, this can steal Arrogant Poets, which again I think I'm fine with, and I'm fine taking 3. He can hit me with the 3/3, but I think this is okay. And then I can now cast Mavinda and put some lifelink counters onto, I guess, the Allen Shield Mage in attack. Force a chump. And then I guess he's forced to block this, or else it's lethal, so I don't mind playing Mavinda here. Activating Mavinda. Get back an Essence Infusion for life gain. Use the Essence Infusion on Allen Shield Mage, and then I'm fine attacking with both, since I'll be gaining a lot of life. Yeah, let's attack with both. This forced him to double chump. Or at least take a hit. So hopefully no crazy spell like Explosive Welcome. Divide by 0, he attacked for a lot. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so that's Xastes. Alright, he got me there. Maybe I should have kept the Spectre Fence back. Got a little bit too aggressive. Maybe I could use this to at least block. But, yeah, I should have thought of him having a removal spell on Mavinda before going all in. So probably should have just kept the Spectre back, and then, opponent would have to keep the flyer. Maybe if we top deck a removal spell, we would have gotten there. But a bit of a misplay, but still shows the power level of this deck in certain matchups still. Alright, Killian seems good. With Guiding Voice seems insane, so always represent Lash and Malice with the Swamp. I think I'll leave with Killian since we're just on the play and he's just going to hit down really hard if he doesn't have any answers. Yeah, he's just going to deal a ton of damage, so I'm happy just playing him out right away while we can. Also Guiding Voice here and attack for 3, which isn't unreasonable by any chance. Or maybe we can just play Pilgrim of the Ages. You know, close call. Maybe it's fine just playing out Pilgrim, don't need to get too greedy. Should maybe attack first, but I don't think it matters much if we're planning to play Pilgrim. Maybe a removal spell now on Killian, seeing the red. Okay, Vortex Runner, okay. Could just Guiding Voice here on the Pilgrim and attack for 3. Don't mind forcing a trade with the Vortex Runner. And then take it slow. Maybe hunt for specimens. Or I guess we can always just double 2-drop into Inkling Summoning Token. Maybe that's fine. Take the turn off a bit. Develop my 2-drops. And then I still have an evasive threat here. And then we can still say go. So had I played Guiding Voice on Killian last turn, he would have set up a double block the following turn. So I think the Pilgrim of the Ages was fine here. So he probably has Arcane Subtraction up, so I probably want to, maybe I'm fine putting a Guiding Voice on the Arrogant Poets and getting an attack in. I think that's okay. And I don't think there's any 2-mana interaction here that will bounce it. Annihilation's fine, but I think I just want more flyers. And then we can move to combat, find attacking with 3 in the air, paying 2, and then we can also just play out a Spectre Fence as an extra flyer. Following turn we can double Inkling Summoning Token. That's okay. Luckily we can fly. Spectre can help me close out the game if he doesn't answer it. Some pretty mediocre playables. Burrock, Befuddler, and Soothsayer Adept, not cards I'm interested in even main decking in the set. But who knows, he could be playing some powerful bombs at the top end and just using these to stabilize the early game, so can't always judge. We do have more ways to learn as well, that's fine. So I could offer to trade here, which is not by any means unreasonable. And then I can just still play double Inkling Summoning. Yeah, I think I'm fine attacking Killian, fine losing 2 life to trade with a Needlethorn Drake. Otherwise, this is just going to haunt me all day, and that's annoying. And hopefully it doesn't have an Arcane Subtraction to punish me. That would be pretty annoying. And maybe I need to rely on just Spectre Fence. Sure. Kelpie Guide can be annoying once he gets 8 mana. Currently only has 6. So he can't really tap down any threats yet. So maybe I can just cheese him out in the air. That can be pretty nice. Eventually find maybe an Intro to Annihilation to exile this. Closing Statements. Closing Statement's pretty awesome too. Probably just attack with these 2 in the air, and he could also have a Burying Books here that he can sandbagging, which will slow us down as well. And if he just lets damage on that, he doesn't have it, so that's a good sign. And I can play Arrogant Poets. Could end the turn use Closing Statement on a Soothsayer, but I don't think it's necessary, just say go. Doesn't loot the Soothsayer away, so I guess he has a playable creature that a card that he wants to play out. Gotta save this for like some sort of reach or flying threat. Explosive Welcome would be pretty annoying. That's fine, we can always chump. And I can deal 6 in the air next turn and put him on a 2-turn clock. Keep up my Closing Statement. And this is only 6 mana still. Could always take out the Kelpie Guide to be safe, but there's a chance again he could have a reach creature that can be pretty problematic, so I think I'm fine sending these. And then I'm also just fine playing on a land, and then animating the Pilgrim of the Ages end of turn if I use it to chump. Or using Closing Statement on Kelpie Guide end of turn. Maybe I'm fine just chumping here. This trade seems okay. So if the opponent tries to use a removal spell, I can Closing Statement in response. So pretty interesting. I mean, if he doesn't have an extra blocker, he's just dead. He can untap a creature with a Kelpie Guide, but that's not enough. So he uses some sort of fight spell. It's funny, I could actually Ignis Inspiration my own creature in response. I mean, it's not a bad idea. And, okay, I guess this can only destroy target creature or planeswalker I don't control. So I guess that's a little bit of an issue, so I guess it's can resolve. He can easily get maybe some sort of life. I guess he can get he can get 2 mana gain 2. I don't think that's enough to do anything. Yeah, I guess I'll just closing statement here end of turn on Kelpie Guide, and then put it on my Killian. So he's just dead here, I think, since it has menace, and if he untaps a creature, that's not enough. Yeah, we can just move to combat. Yeah, he doesn't have any instant speed, so he's just dead here. Alright, well, we need some creatures to curve out with. Swords on turn 1 is not necessarily the greatest. So can I hope to top deck some creatures? I mean, it seems okay if I can get like maybe some 2-drops, so I think I'll try it. And we also have an extra draw step, so I'll take it here. At the very least, I can maybe get a 3-drop. But maybe I shouldn't have kept this, since I'm playing an opposing Silverquill deck with a turn 2 Arrogant Poet. Alright, sometimes you get your 2-drops, sometimes you don't. Can always Swords the Arrogant Poet if he tries to go all in with it. But yeah, this isn't great. Opponent misses his land drops. And yeah, we're not getting any creatures here. So this is going to become a problem that's going to develop over time. I could just Swords this. Maybe that's fine now, since he misses land drop and I don't want to take 1,000,000 damage. And he also missed out on the land drop as well. Opponent plays out a land, that's not a good sign. Give me a creature, please. Killian is nice. So could just Killian here. And the question is, do I want a Guiding Voice? Guiding Voice could be better later, since I might want to put on the Allen Shield Mage instead. And yeah, and I probably am going to just play out the Allen Shield Mage next turn. Because if he plays a removal spell, this could be a bit of a problem. Fine, taking 3, I think Killian's too tough to trade here. Guess I'll play the Allen Shield Mage. And then maybe put a counter onto this the next turn. Maybe attack for 4 or attack back. This is annoying though. I could also just Guiding Voice on the Killian and offer to trade for the Combat Professor, which could also be reasonable. It's a little bit worse in terms of removal if I fall into that trap. Yeah, this isn't great here. I would like to attack with Killian, maybe I do, and then if he does double block it, I can at least gain 3 life, so maybe it's fine, and then I can maybe offer trade with the Allen Shield Mage on the way back, or put a counter onto the Allen Shield Mage. How about this? Let's put a counter onto Killian here. I guess we want to grab an Inkling Summoning or Intro. Intro could also be reasonable, just to deal with the Combat Professor, but I like the Inkling Summoning because it could also trade with Silverquill Pledge Mage, and I guess I'm fine attacking for 6 here. And if he double blocks, I can at least take out both of these creatures, which is quite nice. You could have a Professor's Warning, but this is a 2-for-1, which is quite powerful, so yeah, I'm down for this. Getting some nice value off of Killian, so now it's safer to just play the second Allen Shield Mage here. And I could even trade for this Combat Professor if I like. Do I trade here? Like, when do I not trade? You could have a Professor's Warning, which can be annoying since this can then just become a menace blocker. Alright. 4-mana defend the campus, not bad. Closing Statement seems really nice. Guess I don't mind attacking for 3. And then end of turn I can Inkling Summoning. And then end of turn I can Closing Statement on the Combat Professor. And I want to put a counter onto the Inkling Summoning to diversify a bit. And now he's out of threats. So that 2-for-1 with Pilgrim of the Ages and Silverquill Pledge Mage did come in handy. So that's nice, and I think I'll just attack with the Allen Shield Mage here. Could also force a trade, but this is a good trade that he wants, so I think I'm fine attacking for 3. Then I think I'm fine playing out land, and then we can scry end of turn. Sure. That's actually pretty good. Expanded Anatomy, that's also pretty good. So I guess I'll take 4 and then hopefully scry removal spell on the top. So I need like a Rise of Exodus or something to get back in the game. Otherwise this is just going to be an annoying board stall, which she's going to eventually outgrind me with. So alright, let's scry into something good. Don't need a campus. So I guess since I have Rise of Exodus, I don't really want to scry. Spectre Fence seems okay. Maybe set a double block when he decides to attack and take it from there. Double blocking is a little bit risky, but I might have to do so because this Spectre can also just close out the game for him. So I guess he's just gonna stay back. That's fine. Alright, that was a pretty good scry. Rise of Exodus was great, and which one do we want to exile? Probably the 4/4, so then we can start getting in. And we want to exile against Expanded Anatomy, which can be something he can get back with opposing Mavinda. Beaming Defiance would be annoying here. And then maybe an Introduction to Annihilation to deal with the flyer. Sure. And then I'm fine attacking with these two. Strange Attack, I think I'm blocking. Otherwise he gets to free roll me, and if he wants to use this, it's also fine. I can Professor here, I guess. He can drain me end of turn. Yeah, you know what? Let's intro here, so he doesn't keep draining me. He gets a draw card, which is pretty annoying, but I get to chip in. But this won't become a problem next turn. And it's still almost a 3-turn clock here, so that's fine. Make sure I kept lands to loot with Rise of Exodus. Yeah, I guess we'll just attack with all. Maybe see a study break here. Yeah. That's fine. He gets to pump his creature, but I do get in for 3 here, which is nice. And then I can still play Inkling Summoning. And, I mean, or Pilgrim of the Ages and Chump, which I'm still fine with. Thin out the deck more, and I think I'll hold on to the land just to loot with my other learn cards. And I also don't even get to scry anyways for playing a land, so I think this is okay. And then we can Ziggo. I guess he can make this unblockable and pump, but I don't think it's enough damage. So he needs to activate the land to make this unblockable, put 2 counters onto this, so it's only 5 power. So he needs 2 more Magecraft triggers to enhance this. So in a sense, he's still screwed, because he needs 2 Magecraft triggers, or at least maybe a Guiding Voice onto this. So yeah, he can make this unblockable, use the Expand Enemy, play Guiding Voice and kill me. But if he doesn't have it, if he only has a regular instant, it's still not going to do anything. So yeah, he would need 2 pump spells. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult, so... Alright, GG's. So I guess now the new strategy is for Silverquill. Because this deck is good, it's not like bust or anything, it's still overperforming. It's just that Silverquill has great removal and also excellent threats, whereas if you play Witterbloom and you have great removal but no threats, it's a lot worse than Silverquill. Since the blue decks just tend to outgrind you with card advantage instead of recursion and life gain. But, you know, Witterbloom can be close to tier 1 if you have the right deck for it, but I still think Silverquill and Quandrix have individually more powerful cards. Yeah, I'll keep this. Double Hunt for Specimens is great. And all we really need is like a 3rd land drop to curve out with an Inkling Summoning token. And there's our 3rd land drop. Let's just curve out here. Grab our Inkling Summoning. Alright, can't attack. Maybe find trading it off for an Inkling Summoning token or exiling it. But I think I want to get the Inkling Summoning out first. And this is a pretty reasonable target to exile since it's only 1 life that he's going to gain, and I don't want him to gain too much excessive life. Or exile the Pilgrim of the Ages. But we can always trade that for the for something else, or play Combat Professor, or play Spectre Offends. Lots of options. Yeah, maybe I do just play Combat Professor, pump the 1-drop here, since I'm fine trading this with the Flower or the Pilgrim of the Ages, and then attack for 2. And the trade here is okay. He can get this back, but that's 6 mana, which is a lot. And, you know, either way, if he's attacking the 2-1, I'm fine trading it, though trading the 1-1 token off for it anyway, so I think this is fine. And he probably has some sort of trick here, I have to imagine, but Swords to Plowshare at instant speed is quite strong. So let's see, closing statement, that's pretty good. So I guess now this is a fine target for me to exile. And I think I will, so let's exile this now before he untaps with Beaming Defiance. Play Pilgrim. Get a Plains. And we have to be nice to our opponent as well. Wouldn't mind exiling that. But yeah, we'll just be mana efficient this turn, play another 100 Specimens. Could get an Intro to Annihilation if I miss my land drop. Or just get another Inkling Summoning. Maybe another Inkling Summoning is fine, just go wide. And then keep the opponent back on defense. Eventually find a way to exile this, and then grab another removal spell, and then go from there. Blacker's Trudge is okay. The 2-1 trades were very nicely. Pledge Mate is a bit annoying. Alright, I guess we'll just take it slow. And then I guess I'm fine trading an Inkling for the 2-1 now. So go. This can also gain lifelink to get back to Blackish Trudge, so nice value, but I can always just get back to Pilgrim as well. Definitely going to be a lot more mana, but it seems fine. Bibliotheca Assistant getting back closing statements. Okay. It's pretty sweet. Combat Professor can maybe enable an attack with a Pilgrim. Don't hate that as well. Yeah, I don't want to pump my Flyers. I can pump my Spectre and offer a trade with the Allen Shield Mage, which actually isn't unreasonable too. But maybe the safer bet is to pump the Pilgrim the Ages and get him for 3. And then once we're able to deal with the 3/3, we should be able to maybe just exile this, get an intro to Annihilation, and go from there. I can also just sit back with the Spectre Offense and start draining him if I feel like it. Okay, so I could intro here. He can cast Closing Statements. I think the Rise is really good here on the Allen Shield Mage. And I'm fine paying for the ward. Don't need to exile anything. And then I can also just get an introduction to Annihilation, which is okay. He can also get this flying as well, which I also don't mind. Probably see a removal spell on Combat Professor. Yep. And fine attacking with the ground creatures here. And yeah, I think I'm also fine attacking with an Inkling token. I think I'll just send a team here. And yeah, we'll decline. I don't want to pay for the flying with the Arrogant Poets. And yeah, these trades should be okay. I should still have plenty of creatures to kill him with. Luckily this doesn't have lifelink, so he won't be able to get back Blackish Trudge in time. Okay. These are pretty good trades, and he is trading down, trading tokens. It's crazy how this Inkling summoning token is just trading for a real creature. So just getting these nice 2-for-1s in the meantime. He needs to land to play this. I guess he has a land now. I don't really want to intro to Annihilation of Bibliotheca Assistant, unfortunately, so I'm probably just going to keep the Pilgrim the Ages back. Could also offer a trade as well. Like, maybe it's fine attacking these two, and I'm also fine trading Pilgrims. He can get it back, but I don't really care if he wants to spend his whole turn getting a Pilgrim back. And then, could also drain him here with the Spectre end of turn, but maybe a Shield Mage is fine still. Set up a wider board presence, keep attacking for 2. Eventually we can attack with the Flyers, and that's fine. Does the opponent have his own Rise of Exodus? Okay. Surprised he didn't target the Spectre Offense, since I think that's going to be the more long-term issue. So that's quite surprising. Because now he can get his own Inkling Summoning token, and then offer a trade. Sure. I could just sit back on the Spectre Offense all day. I could also just exile the Bibliothek Assistant and attack with all. Or just Pilgrim of the Ages, reanimate end of turn, play it again. I think I'm actually fine just draining him and then staying back to 2-1, because if I use the, let's say I use Introduction to Annihilation here and attack with all, he trades here and then I get him for 4. I guess I just need to drain him twice to win the game, and hopefully he doesn't have removal. Or I can just sit back. Pretty interesting decisions. You know what, we're not cowards, so let's do this. And yeah, let's go in. Trade here is fine, and then he can take 4. And then we can try to drain him twice. 1 white doesn't get him anywhere here. And hopefully he doesn't draw into a million removal spells, because I kind of need this to help me close out the game, because the opponent can just keep now recur a Pilgrim of the Ages, which I'm fine with. So I might just activate this over and over. That's fine. If he wants to spend 3 mana just to play this, that's okay. And I can also just cast my own Pilgrim of the Ages and offer a trade for my 1 toughness creature, which is also decent. Oh wow, a flunk. Flunk top deck, that's pretty good, although now Mavinda's pretty good. And I guess Mavinda can now maybe can't get back anything. But Mavinda is still a pretty good creature here. I guess I could have Pilgrim and then cast a Mavinda. I guess I can't cast it. Never mind. I guess it's exile now. No, it just goes back to my library. Yeah, Mavinda really needs counters. Necrotic Fumes, that's a good one. Yeah, close, getting close there, but at least we can maybe scry in the turn to find an extra flyer. Yeah, we can't really get anything back with Mavinda, unfortunately, so... Alright, Mavinda's gone. I mean, he probably wants to stay back here because 1 damage could matter. We can still scry. Ooh, closing statement? Yeah, we'll take closing statement. Fine getting Pilgrims back and playing it. But for now, I think we're just going to pass the turn. Yeah, I could destroy this and attack for 3, but then he can just get it back. So I think I'm going to hold on to my removal spell. And be a little bit greedy here in case he has a powerful threat that can win in the game. Team Pennant, I don't really care about this. I guess this gives him Vigilance. So I might want to destroy this once he starts equipping and attacking. Yeah, I'm fine killing this and a swing in for 2. Seems reasonable. And hopefully this resolves. Team Pendant's a pretty bad card, not gonna lie. Demonic Tutor. Well, that's sweet. A Rise to Exodus Humiliates. I think I just want Alan Shield Mage, right? I could Essence Infusion, I could Guiding Voice, but I have nothing else to learn anymore, so I think we just want the Alan Shield Mage as the extra flying threat to help us close out, move to combat. Attack for 2. And then at 3 life, he needs to pay the ward cost to take off the mage, otherwise he's just going to lose. So that was pretty nice. The my tutor giving us this win. So he needs to top deck another flyer, and I still have some removal in my deck. Still have a copy of Rise to Exodus. Also have ways to pump Allen Shield Mage to get an attack across. So I don't know how he can deal with this if he needs to pay the ward cost. I don't think he can. Sure. I guess he can find a chump blocker for the time being. And I guess that can trade for the Allen Shield Mage if he equips it. Okay. So I guess that's an answer to Allen Shield Mage. So, yep, we'll just get Pilgrim of the Ages back. And then just replay them. So we can thin out the library. Yeah, we just want to thin out the library here. And I think I'll pass the turn. Yep. I guess he can make this unblockable and attack for 3 eventually, so... yeah, we need to find a removal spell for this, or at least make Allen Shield Mage large enough to get an attack. And hopefully he doesn't top deck some sort of pump trick. That can be problematic. So yeah, he can make this unblockable and attack for 3. Hopefully he doesn't load up a million counters onto it as well. I guess next turn I can attack with both of these and get in for 2 at least. He does get back Pilgrim, but at least I get him down to 2. Probably don't want to block this, nope. If I scry what happens, I should have mana to still cast a spell. So maybe I do need to just scry here. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm fine letting the draw happen. Killian is nice. So we need Lash of Mouse to deal with the 3-2. Which is going to be pretty important. And then a removal spell to deal the Allen Shield Mage. Loot away the land and go from there. But this is definitely a close match. Killian could also kill him if he isn't careful. Since, I mean, technically, yeah, I just need to maybe find a removal spell for one of the flyers and then attack with all. And maybe that's lethal. Hunt, okay, that's gaining life and give him back his Blackish Trudge, so that's going to be annoying. And a Spirit Summoning, so I guess he can just out-control me here if I'm not too careful. So he makes this into a 4-4. Guess I'll take 4 and then scry end of turn. And then if I find a removal spell, I can maybe take this out and then attack back for 3. Yeah, I think I might have thrown this game, not sure. Had some pretty good draws, but the opponent's also been grinding me out, so we'll bomb the land. And Guiding Voice isn't bad, so I can Guiding Voice on my 3-3. Confront the Pass. Doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess I'll loot away the land. Ooh, and Rise to Exodus is great, so now I can cast Rise to Exodus on, I guess, the 3-2 and attack for 4, because I don't want to lose the extra life. Exile his own Rise to Exodus. And then I guess I'll grab Confront the Pass. It doesn't do anything. And if I attack with all, what happens? This blocks here. I mean, so what happens is that this blocks here. This blocks here. But I get to get in for 2. I don't think that's worth it. I think I'm just going to attack with the Allen Shield Mage here. Force a chump. And then now this is lethal. But yeah, the looting from Guiding Voice helped. And I guess now I'm fine on upkeep using this to scry. But yeah, that was a good series of top decks. the Mind Tutor into Alan Shield Mage and then Guiding Voice, discarding land into the Exile spell. That was really awesome. Alright, 6 and 1. Let's keep this up. Right, not bad. 2-drop into 3-drop, and Killian on turn 2 could also be reasonable, but yeah, Professor on turn 2 is really busted. So I think I just like curving this out into Inkling Summoning. It makes a lot of sense. And this trading for a 2-drop is also very nice. One of the best uncommons in this set. Like, if you think about this card, it's actually not too different from a Hunt for Specimens, but the 2 power actually does matter, since it just trades really well. Yeah, I think I'm fine attacking for 2 here. Yeah, he probably doesn't want to trade an Eager First Year for a insignificant 2-1. If he starts getting more aggressive by putting counters onto this, I might have to keep this back, or if he keeps enabling Magecraft. Reflective Golem, we can maybe eventually exile. Alright, let's get in for 2, and then eventually we can get to land 6 for hopefully a Rise of Exodus to deal with these problematic, I guess we can cast a 4-mana Rise to Exodus next turn as long as Killian doesn't die, so that would be great. So I'm hoping he just goes all in with the counters here. Combat Professor, okay. I guess I'll take 3, since I don't necessarily want to trade Killian. Fine trading the 2-2, though. And the question is, do I actually want to trade? Yeah, I guess I do want to Rise of Exodus the Combat Professor here for 4 mana. It's just really good value. And then we can also just get in for 4. And we have a second Rise to Exodus though. Secondly, Inkling Summoning is still fine here. And attack for 4, gain 2 is pretty nice. So this was a really nice turn. And then once we get our Guiding Voices, Vinda is going to be quite strong as well. Blade Historian, okay, that has to go. Yeah, Blade Historian does not mess around. Yeah, that can go. We're not messing around here. That card can go. And now we can get an Introduction to Annihilation, just all the removal spells. So next turn we can cast an intro for 3 mana with Killian, also Hunt for Specimens, which is kind of insane. But yeah, Killian giving 4 mana Rise to Exodus is quite nuts. So definitely don't sleep on this card. Now we can just deploy our flyers and close out the game. So yeah, even the opponent is kind of scared of Killian here. Definitely need to take this out ASAP. Could also just 2-drop into another something. Could also Humiliate as well. Humiliate is not a bad play, let's just do that. Ooh, Lore Hold Command. Wow, yeah. Let's get rid of that. That can go. That can definitely go. And then I can even cast Mavinda or Inkling Summoning. Don't think it matters. Let's just play the spell he knows about. And then he's just dead the next turn if he doesn't find removal off the top. Get an Enthusiastic Study, I guess, and copy it. How much damage is it, though? Let's see. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He gets to learn. What is he going to learn? Yeah, I don't think I'm blocking this. He can copy this, but he's going to tap out and he won't have and he won't kill me here, so I should be fine, even if he copies the Enthusiastic Study. He can only play it once, and then maybe have another learn card, but yeah, I'm not dead here. I should be fine. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna cut. Pretty cute combo, but we're still at 13 life, and yeah, that's easy. GG's. Killian on 2, Professor on 2, and we're out of dumpsters. Okay, I mean, we're still probably gonna get back into the dumpsters with just a 1400 ranking, but still managed to get a nice 7-win video here. So yeah, overall, Silverquill is just a very impressive school as well in this set, and definitely a set I don't mind. Definitely an archetype I don't mind forcing in this set, given how powerful these matches were. But again, also a big fan of the Quandrix or Teamer control decks. So let's do an overview of the deck before we move on. I think this is our third Silverquill aggro deck, but yeah, just a pretty reasonable deck, you know. Lots of great removal spells. Swords to Plowshare, Lash of Malice was pretty decent. I guess Humiliate is kind of like a removal spell. Double Rise of Exodus, so that wasn't bad. One copy of Guiding Voice and Essence Infusion went a long way. I like having one of these since just the life gain could matter. And if you have multiple 1-drops, which we don't, of course, it's still pretty solid. Obviously, like if you don't have a lot of expanded enemies to get and learn, one Essence Infusion is always fine. Guiding Voice also was great. And then yeah, even with all these learn cards, we still managed to loot. I think in one game we loot away a land in order to draw a card, but still just having 6 learn cards was enough to easily grab our double Inkling Summonings and Introduction to Annihilation from our sideboard back into our hand. So overall, just a really solid Silverquill deck. I don't think it's by any means busted. I've seen a lot more insane Silverquill decks with a more insane Mavinda build, double Killian or triple Killian, Dramatic Finale at 4, Sparring Regiment 3, Post Quill at 2, and you know, just basically yeah, ours was just good. Had a lot of removal, some great lessons in the sideboard, some nice evasive threats, good 2-drops to help us close out, and still played 17 lands, which was reasonable, so we can hit our Rise to Exodus on turn 6, which you know, even then, you know, we didn't flood out too badly with this type of deck. So I'm actually quite happy with this deck, and this is my first time I got to play Demonic Tutor. Had to take it over Magma Opus, but you know, it was pack 3 pick 1, I think, or was it pack 2 pick 1? Yeah, it was pack 2 pick 1, and we knew Silverquill was the open guild. So yeah, definitely stay open, and then you can just get a solid deck that can help close out the game, and this was definitely one of them. And yeah, double Silverquill Campus definitely better than 3, since again we want to curve out and we don't want to play too many tap lands. So yeah, overall just a very excellent deck. Haven't had a 7-1 in a long time. Haven't had a 7-0 honestly for a very long time. And you know, hopefully we can get a 7-0 video eventually. But those are definitely very hard. But yeah, let's claim our prizes. And let's open a Strixhaven booster pack, and let's see, pack 1 pick 1 Strixhaven booster, probably just the Igneous Inspiration. This is one of the best uncommons. It's kind of crazy, like, do I take this over Killian? I mean, Killian could be more powerful in a straight up synergistic Silverquill deck, but Igneous Inspiration keeps me more open, definitely splashable in the Teamer Quandrix decks, can be played in the Mardu deck, can be played in Lorehold and Prismari. Yeah, I would still probably take this over Killian just to stay open, but Killian is definitely very gross. The top uncommons that are hard, I think, there are the top uncommons in a set are like Igneous Inspiration, Killian, and Rutha, I think, and maybe like Divide by Zero, maybe in 4th place, since Divide by Zero doesn't kill anything but just bounces, but still overall a very great card. But I would definitely take this over Professor of Symbology. Maybe I would take Killian over Professor Symbology as well. But yeah, definitely one of the best uncommons in the set. So Igneous Inspiration, easy first pick. And I drafted all the rares already, so you're not going to see the rares. We're just going to evaluate the commons and the uncommons. Or maybe we didn't. Okay, Hoffrey's definitely a bomb. It's one of those cards that actually seem incredibly strong in the straight-up Lorehold decks, because usually the bomb rares and mythics in the Lorehold deck, you rather just play in the controlling Prismari deck, where you can loop instances and sorceries for value. But I mean, this is still very good. This is better up in the straight up synergistic Lorehold Spirit deck. But that being said, maybe it's still a fine splash creature that you don't mind playing in either Mardu or Prismari Splashing White, i.e. Jeskai. But definitely better in a deck that's much more creature-oriented and has some spirits already. So, yeah, Joffrey's definitely a bomb, and a card I don't mind first picking and forcing Lorehold, even though I think it is the worst college. Having a bomb like Ghost Forge can go a long way. And Lorehold is usually underdrafted at the table since it's considered the worst. But, you know, you can definitely make it happen, so don't sleep on Lorehold. Other great cards include Kelpie Guide, Inkling Summoning, and Overgrown Arc. I think I would take the Inkling Summoning over the rest of these two. But, you know, the rest of these two are also very close. Kelpie Guide and Overgrown Arc are both close. Kelpie Guide better in Quandrix, a little bit weaker in Prismari, but it still helps you ramp and can still untap a creature. So overall, still a very solid card, but better in Quandrix because you're trying to get to 8 lands to lock down a creature. And Overgrown Arc is better in Witterbloom, but still fine in Quandrix since it has a lot of life gain synergy. So you can kind of look at these cards as gold cards in a sense. Like, even though this is mono blue, this feels more like a Quandrix card. And if you look at this, even though this is mono green, it feels more like a Witterbloom card. So, and then this is just, and this can go in either Lorehold, Witterbloom, or Silverquill. So probably still take Inkling Summoning here as a very good lesson you can grab. But yeah, I'll probably still take Kelpie God or Overgrown Arch. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, I think Quandrix is the best college, but in the right synergistic Witterbloom deck, the Overgrown Arch can be quite insane. So it really depends on like your preference and your evaluation. But I would still take maybe Kelpie Guide over Overgrown Arch because I think blue is the best color. But Inkling Summon can go in more decks, and it's just a really excellent lesson you can look up. And Silverquill is again very powerful. So yeah, I would take maybe Inkling Summoning over both of these two. But yeah, Inkling Summoning still keeps me in tier 1 if I do end up in Silverquill, so it's fine. Harness Infinity is a very fun build around. Usually, it's kind of funny, I did draft this in a Friday Night Magic. It was passed to me, and I was already in Witterbloom, and when I had this card in my hand, I felt like I was already ahead in the game. So therefore, playing it was basically just overkilling the opponent or showing how cool I am for drafting this card. But it's still a very strong card in Witterbloom, like I can imagine games where they do drag outs, you use up a bunch of resources, you're in the late game, opponent and you are both just trading back and forth, not getting anywhere, and you're stuck in some sort of weird board stall situation. The Harness Infinity can just be really nice, since you don't really want to main face this card, since you're forced to discard up to until you have 7 cards at the end of your turn. You want to cast this on your opponent's turn at the end step, so then you can just have the ability and more options on your untapped step and main phase to cast the spells. But Harness Infinity is definitely a fun card that I wouldn't mind first picking, and it's definitely one of those cards that Witterbloom also kind of needs, since Witterbloom is kind of lacking aggression, and not only aggression, but they're also lacking powerful late game value cards, since blue usually just outvalues black-green at the end of the day due to card draw and large creatures to ramp into. The Harness Infinity can give them some value, so you can get back your removal spells. So yeah, I wouldn't mind first picking Harness Infinity. It's definitely one of the more fun rare picks. Best card in this pack overall is probably just Humiliate, outside of the Harness Infinity, I think. I mean, probably Humiliate's better than Harness Infinity. Like, it's reasonable first picking this just to force Silverquill, since, again, we just saw how powerful Silverquill was in this draft. But for funsies, I think I would take the Harness Infinity. But Humiliate's also great. Snakeskin Veil is also a nice sleeper. 1-mana counterspell, definitely overperform in Call Time and also in the set. Card Wrangler's fine, but just a worse Quandrix Pledge Mage, since 5 mana is a lot. But still reasonable 5-drop. Probably, yeah. I think if you want to win the draft, you would take Humiliate. I think if you want to have fun and still have a really strong deck, you can take a Harness Infinity. But yeah, depends on your direction. Approach is a bomb. I mean, you can splash this in the Quandrix deck if you have Environmental Sciences, and yeah, with a million card draw spells, you can just eventually draw your way into Approach of the Second Sun, cast it, draw more cards, and then cast it again. You can also play this in Prismari, maybe in some sort of in some sort of Jeskai control deck with a decent amount of card draw, you can still play this. And you can also still main deck like Solve the Equation. Since Solve the Equation can get any instant or sorceries, if you play the 3-mana Solve the Equation, you can look that up, which is an uncommon that you won't usually pick up or main deck. But if you have Approach of the Second Sun, you can just cast the Solve the Equation, and then you can just grab the Approach of the Second Sun from your deck, either to cast it the following turn, or the same turn, or just cast it again to win the game. But yeah, Approach is a bomb, and you definitely want to be main blue if you want to play Approach of the Second Sun. You definitely don't want to be in an aggressive Silverquill deck. I can see this being played in Lorehold still, but usually Lorehold doesn't have the card advantage to get to the Approach of the Second Sun quick enough. So I'd rather just splash this in Quandrix or Prismari, but this is definitely one of the more fun mystical archives you can open. Other good cards include Prismari Pledge Mage. Frost Trickster, a bit of an underperformer in this set, given how blue is more controlling than aggressive. Usually a card like this would be insane in the more aggressive-oriented Tempo Blue archetype, which is still possible in the set, but for the most part, blue wants to be more controlling. It's still a fine creature here. You know, I'll probably still take this just to stay open, but Pledge Mage is really awesome in the Prismari decks. But probably take Approach of the Second Sun. And Test of Talents is also main deckable. This is a better negate since you can just spy on the opponent's hand, and occasionally you might get some copies of the same cards out of their library, and that's nice. But just being able to spy on the opponent's hand and their library can be pretty useful. So Test of Talents is not actually that bad. And given that this set has so many lessons and instances and sorceries to trigger Magecraft, main decking this card also isn't bad like the rest. So yeah, but probably take Approach of the Second Sun. Pretty fun build around. And then here, Inkling Summoning. Gift of the States, don't find this to be great. It's more like a commander card. Clever Lumimancer is also can be a pretty insane build around if you can build around it. Like, unfortunately, it doesn't go in every Silverquill deck, but in the Silverquill decks where you're like trying to draft like a Mavinda, and if you open up a bomb Mavinda and you get past Clever Lumimancer, you can just draft a Silverquill deck that's more interested in loading up counters onto your creatures, and that's incredibly powerful. Since this is just insane with double Guiding Voice on it, or just one Guiding Voice can go a long way. But if you don't have the right Silverquill deck, this isn't great, and you might as well just draft one with more removal and just 2 drops. So in a sense, Clever Lumimancer can be worse than an Eager First Year in some Silverquill decks, but it can be insanely busted in the right Silverquill deck. But probably still take Inkling Summoning just as the best common out of that pack. Another Lumimancer. This pack sucks. Lorehold Pledge Mage, I think it was rated as the worst Pledge Mage, but this card actually isn't that bad. Like a 2/2 First Striker that can enhance his power with Magecraft is actually pretty reasonable. You got the Witherbloom Pledge Mage, which is a 5/5, which is really solid. Quandrix Pledge Mage, which can gain counters over time, can be pretty strong. Then what else? The Lorehold, I guess the Lorehold Pledge Mage is the one we're looking at. How about the Silverquill Pledge Mage? Which that one? What's the Silverquill Pledge Mage? I forgot that one. Oh, it's the 3/1 that flies. That one's pretty good. And then I guess the Prismari Pledge Mage is also really solid. So I guess this one is still, I would consider the worst, but still actually pretty decent too. Like I would still play this in maybe Silverquill, since it's a pretty solid creature. But keep in mind, if you don't play this in straight up red-white, you might need some more mana fixing to make this easier to cast, but still a fine card. But yeah, Clever Lumimancer, I would pick out this pack and hopefully wheel a Defiant Strike to go along with Clever Lumimancer, and it's insanely busted. Time to Pest, haven't seen this card work too well. There's a decent amount of interesting uncommons in Witherbloom that are like single black and single green. There's the Deadly Brew, which makes you and an opponent each sacrifice a permanent, and then you can put in permanent into your hand. There's an Infused with Vitality, where you can give a creature Death Touch, and then you gain 2 life, and when the creature dies, you get to you can put a you can bring that you can bring that creature that just died from the way back. There's the Rush Rebirth, which, you know, it's probably worse than Deadly Brew and the Infused Vitality, because it states that whenever this creature just dies, you can search your library for a creature with CMC less than the one that died, which seems pretty bad. But Tend to Pest is kind of interesting because I can see this being kind of interesting if you have Daemogoth Titans, like in our pack 1 pick 1 for this draft, since you can just sacrifice that and make 11 pest tokens as some sort of combo, and that can be quite strong. But typically speaking, you don't want to really sack your big creatures in a Witherbloom deck unless you have the Tend to Pest combo and Milling Drain effects, since they're just really large, valuable creatures that you don't want to sack. And sacking this on a small creature doesn't seem great, so I don't really like Tend to Pest that often. I'd rather just have it infused with Vitality, but, anyways, yeah. Interesting pack, but probably prefer to Clever Lumimancer and build around that. Ooh, Guiding Voice versus Inkling Summoning, both very difficult decisions. There's Blackish Trudge, which is pretty good too, but best in Witherbloom since it has more incremental life gain. Okay in Silverquill, but not as good. But if you have multiple Killians, this card will be good. But I think it's still between Guiding Voice and Inkling Summoning. You have the best Flight Common in the set. That's incredibly powerful. And then you also have a great Lesson. That's probably the best creature lesson in the set. Probably take the Inkling Summoning because people have been sleeping on Guiding Voice and they do pass that around, which I don't think it's correct. But the fact that more people tend to pick up the summonings and the lessons makes it more likely that I want to pick this up first before I take a Guiding Voice. Because let's say we do have a Guiding Voice, but we don't have any great lessons, then it's okay. But if we do have the lesson, and then we pick up like a Hunt for Specimens or some other way to learn, like Rise of Exodus, this card is just really good. And we definitely saw the power level of Inkling Summoning in this draft. It's kind of insane how just a 3-mana 2/1 flyer can go a long way, enable 2-for-1s and trades, and also just become a threat. So probably just take Inkling Summoning here over the rest of these. But overall, yeah, pretty nice draft. Got a 7-1, which I haven't had in a long time. Hopefully I can get another nice draft in next video. I don't know if I want to fire off another degenerate Ikoria draft. We all know how that goes. You just force the cycling deck. And even, guess what? Even if you aren't in the cycling deck, like the fact that you can still be in main red is already good enough, since the blue-red spells deck is also very strong. Blue-red Cycling is also very strong, and Black-red Sacrifice, also one of the top-tier archetypes, are very strong. So even if you try to lean towards a cycling deck and you draft a couple of red cards, you can still end up in blue-red spells or Black-red Sacrifice, and those decks are usually just better than the mutate decks, the green-based mutate value decks. So yeah. Anyways, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy my content. And in the meantime, yeah, stay tuned for more content. Might not have a lot of content until I think D&D Forgotten Realms comes out. By the way, I don't play D&D. I don't understand the appeal of it, but to each of their own. Yeah, hopefully maybe Modern Horizons 2. I'm more interested in Modern Horizons 2, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, since that's a really excellent, since the first set was very excellent for limited. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this content. All right, and in the meantime, have a good one. Bye.